Hello folks, well if you are watching this video, that means you clicked on the link below in the description of the other video where I made some barn doors. Now this video is going to go into a detailed step-by-step explanation of how I found the angles and made that half lap joint for the cross section here on these barn doors. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's lesson. So here's the two pieces where our X is going to be. And the X pieces are going to be starting at the edges of these half lap joints. All right, so at this point I have no idea what the angles are going to be, but I know that I want this distance, in this case, to be like the originals at 29 inches. So I put those in, clamped it. I also want to make sure that these are in line with each other and that they're parallel and square. So I'll put this level on it, and I can use this framing square or this giant speed square to check and make sure that I'm at a good 90. I can also check the corners diagonally and make sure that we're good that direction. Okay, so that's good. Now, how I find my angles. Well, I've got my piece and I have it longer than what I need. I'm going to put it in place here. And then I'm going to, just for a reference mark that with the pencil. Now what I'll do is I have my bevel. Now what works great here is one of these angle finders. I've had this for a long time. They now have them that are digital. But I could put this on here and line it up. And it not only gives me what my single cut would be for this, which I'd be doing, it also will tell me what a miter cut would be if I was to make two pieces go together. Now, this at the time when I bought it was around $50. If you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can do it with a bevel that you can pick up at probably just about any garage sale and a kid's school protractor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bevel in here and keeping it flat against the bottom, making sure this is flat against my piece, lock it in, and it's this angle here that I want to measure. So if you'll notice, if I put this on here, essentially we want this line going straight with the bottom piece. If I put this on, clearly it's not. If I flip that over, you can see that that will be running parallel with our bottom piece. So that's what I'm going to measure. And then I would take this and put that on there, and I'm reading it from the 90 degrees over. So it looks like it's somewhere around 72 or 73. It's really not when I go to the miter saw, because on the miter saw I'm starting at 90. So I got 10, 20, so about 23, maybe 23 and a half. So what I'll do is I'll make some practice cuts with some scrap wood. And I cut it at 23, and I had, it fit pretty good there, but it was a little bit of a gap there. So I changed it to 23 and a half, and you can see that's a nice fit. Okay, so what I'll do is I now need to measure how long this piece is going to be to cut both of them. Okay, to measure this, I could use my tape measure, but I find this sometimes a little bit awkward and difficult to hold in the right place and get my number. So lots of times I'll use what they call a story stick. So it's just a thin scrap piece of wood, and I'll place that on my pencil line. Place the other one right at that corner, and I'll make a mark with the pencil. Come down here. And now I can use those points place them on there and use that bevel again. And I'll go and make my cuts at the miter saw. So here's the piece, cut at the 23.5 at each end. Excellent. That's a good fit. Okay, I'm gonna take this measurement, I'm just gonna transfer it onto another board, trace it, cut it out for the other side. So here's my other one, and if I put that into place, just roughly. So now I could just cut this piece here, take that out, lay it flat in there, and toenail it. But I really don't want to do that. I actually want to make this piece and this piece a half flap. So I'll show you that next. Okay, so what I did with the bottom pieces, I just turned them up on the sides. That way I have more of a flat surface for all the pieces. I checked my diagonals to make sure that these guys are running parallel and straight, and I have them in position where I want it. So what I'll do is with the mechanical pencil then, I will trace onto here. I'm not worried about this one yet. Lift that up, set it to the side. And then I'm going to shade this. This is the area that I want to cut out. And I'll do that next. So your first thought probably is you can nibble this out on the table saw or use a stacked dado head and hog it all out. But take a look here. Remember, I said that angle down here was 23.5. So I set my miter gauge to that, but if you see my lines are nowhere near running into what the blade needs to be. I have to angle that even more. So it's not the 23.5 angle that I need, it's that off of 90 degrees, which is 66.5. And my miter gauge only turns to 60 degrees. So let me show you now how I'm going to take that out. So what I want to do is I just want to cut with a handsaw on the line here, and then I'll remove the bulk of this with the router. So I have the piece that's all routed out, and I'm going to put it back in position. Make sure it gets in the right spot. And the other piece still has to be routed, but I need to mark it. Okay, so now I'm going to make a couple of pencil marks on here. This happens to be a pretty good fit. Turn it over with the mechanical pencil again. That's the material I want to remove. And repeat the same procedure for this one as I did for that one. So here it is. It's all put together. It's pretty flush. A little sanding should finish it up real nice. And we'll put her in. Lines up in place. Excellent. And that is how it's done. Well, I hope that gave you some good information and ideas for future projects of your own. After all, my whole purpose of the show is to make you a better woodworker. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep on dancing.